It's your daily dose of Muzzy. Just kidding. It's your daily dose of Donna. It is Friday, December 5th. We've made it. We've made it to Friday. How happy are you? I am happy. I am so grateful it's Friday. I'm always grateful when we make it to the end of a week. Happy, hopefully, healthy, hopefully, muzzified. I am muzzified today. I'm feeling good. I am feeling grateful for another great week. My kids are good. My husband is good. He's healthy. He has a cold. Oh my God, you guys, we can talk about the man cold. What's up with the man cold? It's a real thing. I had to have a conversation with my husband this morning or last night about the man cold. He thought it was like a thing I create for him. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't think you understand. The man cold is like a real thing. And you are the prime candidate of the man cold. He has been, I'm not joking. I mean, sorry, Lance, I'm calling you out. He has been in bed, basically. He's working, but like from bed for 5 days with a head cold. Now, I'm going to remind you guys what I did with a head cold. I ran the shit. Okay? Okay? Men. But Nick Vile has a bad man cold. You know who else I bet has bad man colds? Ryan Reynolds. We'll talk about more about these men. You think I'm a misogynist? Yeah, right. Women can do everything. I love women. I love women so much that you would question if I was a lesbian. Oh my gosh, you guys cracked me up. Zach Peter created an entire story that I was missing. This was hilarious. If you didn't watch Zach's show this morning, everyone said that I have never experienced it. Well, hold on. Let's just get our shit in order and let's start the show in a proper way. If you haven't subscribed, why not? If you haven't hit the like button, what's wrong with you? Make sure you do all that. Join the Cool Kids Club over here. Become a doser. It's your daily dose of Donna. All right. Well, you guys, I just wanted to, before I forget, I want to shout out a company that I haven't for a long time, but I am wearing a Stay Body bodysuit right now. And Stephanie from Stay Body, she is a doser and I adore her. And I don't talk about it often enough, but I wear these bodysuits all the time. So I think it's very important that I shout them out. Stay Body is an incredible bodysuit company. I have it in white. I have it in beige. I have it in black. I have the tank top. I have the long sleeve. And the best part about these bodysuits are they're not as constricting as some of these other form-fitting bodysuits that you can't breathe and all of that. They're great. They're comfortable, but they're very soft and beautiful on your body. And the best part about it is that they don't snap at the bottom, and the fact that you can just wear them and then you can pull them down. They have this great technology that you can just pull them down when you have to go to the bathroom. That is the key for me, because sometimes that snap situation when you have to pee is the entire reason. Why did it go away? This banner. Oh, I have it on a timer situation. This Stay Body is the best for convenience. Come on with this going away. I don't want it to go away. I don't want the timer. Oh my God. Sorry. I'm trying and it's not letting. What? I'm not I guess I'm not very good at technology. But anyway, Stay Body is what I want you guys to purchase. If you are looking for the best gift for anyone in your life, for a woman or a man. You know, uh I don't I don't tell you what to do in your life. These are the best. There you go. Hopefully, it doesn't go away while we're just talking about it here. You can use the code Daily Dose for 10% off. It's Stay Body, but it's spelled STABODY.com. Use code Daily Dose for 10% off. Check out all of their clothes, and you're supporting a local doser. Special K wants to know, do you have to be super skinny to wear them? The answer is, of course not. You can have any body. They have all sizes. And it's body wear. It's like shapewear. It's the best. It is the best. So definitely check it out. And I like it because you're supporting a doser. Okay. And I met her. She came to Dosers Live. She's phenomenal. I love her. I love her. I love her. Okay. Let's get into the show. I have so much to cover. But yes, this morning, Zach made it an entire part of his show. He talked about the fact that I went missing last night. In fact, it was kind of a really funny little piece. I can play you a little part of it, but I will tell you, I didn't realize that I was loved until Zach and Molly came around. And honestly, I thought that they were joking last night. Do you ever get to that place in your life where you just kind of need to maybe tear yourself away from like the world? That's how I was yesterday. I put myself on Do Not Disturb. I was interviewing Maureen Callahan, actually. If you don't know who Maureen Callahan was or is, she's the host of the Nerve podcast. She's a writer, an incredible journalist for the Daily Mail, and she also has written multiple books. She has it out for Ryan Reynolds, which is why she's like number one on our list. But also, she just wrote last year one of my favorite of all time books called Ask Not. And it's about the women in the lives of the Kennedy men from all the years, right? JFK, RFK, Jack Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, like all of them, right? Ted Kennedy. And but it's about the women. And I'm telling you, as someone that was never interested in the Kennedys, I really wasn't. I became obsessed, hyperfixated, couldn't get enough. She wrote it in such an incredible way, like it was a novel. And I was in the eyes and the hearts of these women. So I was so excited that I got to have her on my show again yesterday for the second time. You guys will get that interview ASAP. But I had my phone on Do Not Disturb for a few hours. I had no idea that Molly and Zach, two of my besties, were like legit worried about me. This is Zach talking about it to Stu this morning.
That happened already.
So I haven't told you this, but Donna Bowling went missing yesterday. Like full on.
This is a little fast.
No. When I tell you, did she tell you about this?
No, I don't know anything. Fucking, you two are fucking insane.
So she went full on missing, and me and our friend Molly were ready to call the popo. We were ready to call the police. We were going to go to her house. So we were texting in our group thread as we normally do. And I'm watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the reunion. It was so good. And so we're sending all of these things in our group chat, and Molly and I are going, and we're not hearing anything back from Donna. And I was like, that's weird. It's been like a couple hours and we haven't heard from Donna.
And sometimes on the group text with the three of us, like one of you will not respond. I mean, I always do. I'd be like, but yeah, go ahead.
So we're going and we're like, where's Donna? What's going on with Donna? And then Molly texts. Well, actually, I'll just read you our text messages because it was quite hilarious. So we weren't hearing from her. So we were going on her social media and we were trying to see like, okay, when was the last time she posted? Okay, she posted at 1. It's now 4. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And then we're calling her and her phone's on Do Not Disturb. It's going to voicemail. And then we're texting her and she's reading the text messages. So it says read with the timestamp that it was read, and she's not responding to us. So immediately,
my text messages come through on my computer. So like I'm seeing the text messages, but I am literally talking to Maureen, or I'm like doing some work before I talk to Maureen. Like I wanted to be a good podcaster and interviewer, and I didn't want to get distracted talking about Miranda and Dakota.
Immediately, my first thought is, okay, something happened. I was like, and my mind, and I just finished watching the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion, and I was giving them like all of my thoughts in our group text, and neither of them were responding until eventually Molly came to life. But it was so crazy because then Molly texts me directly and she says, So Donna posted on Instagram at like 1 something. So at 3:56, Molly texts me and she says, "Have you heard from Donna at all today? I know she did her show this afternoon, but she's not responding to texts." I said, "No, she's been MIA since she posted her Blake Lively video on Instagram. I think her phone is off. It automatically goes to voicemail because I tried calling her and she wasn't answering." And then she said, "Same for me. Huh, I hope everything is okay." And I said, "Me too. It's not like she ever goes silent like this." And then Molly says, "Text was delivered, but the calls keep going to voicemail. Maybe she's recording something." She said, "I'll give it another hour and then I'm sending the drones." And I said, "It's so random." I was like, maybe she's busy and accidentally left her phone on Do Not Disturb. And Molly's like, "That's what I'm hoping for. But my text says that it was read 20 minutes ago, but she didn't respond, which she has never done. She must be recording, right?" And I was like, that's strange that she would keep it on read and not reply, knowing that we're worried because we're texting her like, "Hello."
You guys, my husband has never cared so much about me. My kids don't. No one in my life has ever cared. They hadn't talked to me for 2.5 hours. This was not even 6 hours.
"Are you alive? What's going on?" And she's reading all the damn text messages and just not responding to either of us. And she's like, right? And then
I would be like,
her,
"She's mad with us?"
That's what I was thinking too. And I was like, same. What the F is going on? I hope she's okay. Look, she read my message at 4:01 and I sent a screenshot. I said, "I'm getting worried now." And Molly said, "Me too." I said, "I hope it's not the kids." And Molly said, "That was my thought too." Ugh. And I said, "It's obviously something that she doesn't want to tell us yet." And this is where my mind went to thinking, oh my God, she cheated on Lance and he caught her. She did. I was like, there had to be a bombshell. There had to be an affair. And she doesn't want to tell us yet. She's trying to navigate her life, you know? And so we're trying to figure this out. And so Molly says, "That was my thought too." And I said, "It's obvious she doesn't want to tell us. She doesn't want to tell us yet."
You guys
Molly
just concocting like rumors in your head. Like, you guys are insane.
He created
like,
a whole reality show.
Her. And I said, "It can't be that she's just recording." And then Molly said, "What should we do?" I almost want to text Lance. But then I'm like, am I being paranoid? It's only been a few hours. And I was like, we don't know if it involves Lance, because this is where I'm thinking maybe there was an affair. Maybe he caught, like, I was full on, like, you know, I was convinced. And then she's like, "That's true." She's like, "I thought that too." Ugh. And I was like, I think we just need to give her space. She knows that we're concerned and she'll come to us when she's ready. I'm sure she'll reach out to us at some point tonight. And Molly said, "I just hope everyone's okay. For her to not respond and to set her phone to D&D is serious." And then I said, "If not, then I think we have no choice but to reach out to Lance, her husband." And she says, "Please let me know if you hear from her and I'll do the same." And I said, "It has to be family related." I said, "Okay, I will."
Family related.
And then, so that was, you know, us going back and forth, and we're concerned and we're checking her timestamps and when she's posting, what she's posting, and all of this stuff, right? And so we sent that, and then maybe like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, we get this text message. And it's literally Donna saying, "Hey guys, what's up?" And we're like, "Donna, where the hell have you been?" And she's like, "Oh, I was just recording an interview." I was like, "Recording an interview? We were going to send a search team after you." And she's like, "What are you guys talking about? It's only been a couple of hours."
She's so fucking like that though. She's like, "What are you talking about? Like, there's nothing wrong, guys. Like, whatever. Like, it's just like fine. It's like whatever."
She's like, "You guys are being so dramatic." And we're like, "What do you mean we're being dramatic? You disappeared." And she's like, "I literally didn't disappear." She's like, "Some days I get this way." I was like, you just ignore us for hours on end."
I seriously thought that they were like, they were just talking amongst themselves. I glanced at the text and I just saw a lot of like, Demi, Fruity Pebbles, Dakota. I was like, I don't have time for this right now. I'm dealing with important things like Jackie Onassis. I am a journalist. I am an esteemed journalist interviewing Maureen Callahan. I am not at the level of mom talk anymore. I've graduated from this low level. I do not care about this low level garbage. Mom talk, schmom talk. That's where I was thinking. I had no idea. So this morning we were texting early in the AM, like 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., because that's when we text. You know, Molly's on the East Coast. Zach and I are really early risers. And then at 7:30, I started my workout and I said, "Guys, just FYI, here's my location. I'm going to be MIA for 48 minutes while I'm working out in case you guys can't get a hold of me. Here's my location." Now I'm like, oh my God, I have a mom. 2 moms, 3 moms. I have my mom and I have Molly mom and now Zach mom. It's a lot of stress. I can never go missing. Like I can never do anything wrong now. But now I know that I have a lot of people that care about me. So it's really sweet. Okay, let's get into, and Zach does have my location, which is really funny. And he would have seen that my ass was sitting right at my desk the entire day, like just eating cottage cheese. Like I was the most boring I've ever been yesterday. Okay, let's get into some of the big stories. We're gonna recap Real Housewives of Beverly Hills later. I thought it was phenomenal. I love the episode. I was in heaven. I loved it. I love Rachel so much. I am so happy she's back. She brings such a level of glamour to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I loved the episode. We also need to talk about some weird ass celebrity phobias. I think what we'll do is maybe bring those in as like some fun hot topics. And this weird story that popped up about the Jay-Z and Solange Knowles fight. Are you guys interested in this? I thought this was such a crazy random ass story that came up out of nowhere. Do you guys remember? And then, of course, we have to talk about Alex Sachs, the producer who has really pissed me off in the last 24 hours. Okay. So, so I have to tell you, I was very, very interested in this Jay-Z and Solange Knowles fight when this happened. Do you guys remember? It was back in 2014 at the Met Gala. Okay. A fairly established affair, usually. This is something that usually happens for people to really, dress their best and act their best and et cetera, et cetera. And everyone is normally, there's usually not a lot of drama that happens at the Met Gala. And yet, in 2014, this was the first experience that I think the world was like, what is up with Jay-Z and Beyonce? There's something going on between the two of them. Because there was some elevator footage that happened in the at the where did it take place? It took place, I don't know where it happened. It was at the Met Gala, but I don't know where New York City Standard Hotel. So it was probably at an after party. Oh yeah, after party, following an after party at the Boom Boom Room. Okay, so at the Standard Hotel following the after party, and this footage got leaked. And this footage in the elevator showed Solange, which is Beyonce's younger sister, lunging at, swinging at, and kicking her brother-in-law, Beyonce's husband, Jay-Z. Okay, this footage leaked, and that they were just like, what the this was probably their first time ever just being so livid at this footage getting leaked. Let's see if the video will show up here on this ad right after this ad. I just saw it, so maybe it will show up in just a second after this ad. It is wild footage. If not, I'll find it on YouTube really fast. Hold on. No, this is about Halle Berry. Okay, which is a funny story. But okay, here we go. This is an image. I want to see the video though. Let me just quickly find it for you. Solange, Jay-Z, elevator video. Here's on YouTube. It's from TMZ. Okay, let's hope this is a whole video. Just making sure you guys can see. Great.
Jay-Z and Beyonce Knowles Carter, the almost royalty power couple of hip-hop and R&B, set tongues wagging across the world because of this incident. Captured by CCTV cameras in an elevator at a fancy hotel in the Big Apple. All appears calm and normal until Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, lunges at her brother-in-law. The video shows Solange, a vocal star and fashionista in her own right, punching, hitting, kicking, and clawing at the famed rapper before eventually being pulled off by a bodyguard.
What if I talk this way?
The entertainment world was abuzz with questions such as, why did Beyonce not react at all to the incident? And of course, why did Solange attack Jay-Z in the first place?
Where is Beyonce in that
Was
video?
it because
Okay.
of money?
So what if I talk that way? So today we are going to talk about Justin Baldoni. So that video happened in 2014. This is 11 years ago, but no one ever actually said what that fight was about. No one has a reason until yesterday. All of a sudden, there's an article on page 6, the truth behind Jay-Z and Solange Knowles' infamous elevator fight, and it's been revealed because of a fashion designer. Now, I'm curious if we believe this little story or not. You guys tell me. The truth behind Jay-Z and fashion and sister-in-law Solange Knowles' infamous elevator fight has been revealed. Fashion designer Oscar G. Lopez, who made Rachel Roy's Met Gala gown from that year, claims Jay-Z complimented Roy's dress at the event, which upset Solange Knowles. I think that Jay-Z complimented Roy about the gown, and Beyonce's sister felt that it was not proper. So it was kind of drama there, Lopez told the Daily Mail on Thursday. This is Oscar Lopez, who made Rachel Roy's 2014 Met Gala gown. So they're saying that Jay-Z apparently told Rachel Roy, who's this woman right here, saying, wow, that's a pretty gown. And this upset Solange, that's Beyonce's younger sister, so much that she just went and lost her damn shit in the elevator so badly that it created this entire fight. Page 6 previously reported that Solange was drunk and had gotten into an argument with Roy upon arriving at the hotel, though the sources did not say what the disagreement might have been about. There was a lot of headlines, which put even more eyeballs on the black lace dress Lopez had designed for Roy, and which gave him a lot of, popularity because the dress was all over the place. And Lopez described Roy, who was rumored to have been Jay-Z's mistress, as a sweetheart. He shared that she ran late to the annual gala that year and actually missed the red carpet. So his design didn't get that much attention, but this gave it more attentions. So he says, remember, Rachel Roy was married to Damon Dash, who used to work together with Jay-Z. Roy interned at Roca Wear, the fashion label started by Jay-Z and Dash, before working her way up to creative director of the women and children's lines. And clearly I don't think it was really just about him saying, oh, your dress is cute. It was because there was a rumor that he was obviously having an affair with Rachel Roy. And Solange was clearly maybe drunk and protecting her sister in some strange way. And of course, Becky with the Good Hair was the song that was referred in 2016 when she came out with her song Sorry. And then Roy captioned an upload in part, good hair, don't care. And obviously, whatever. And that's the story that they're going on, because supposedly he said, I like your dress, to Rachel Roy that night. This is a crazy picture if you actually look at it. This is them walking out of the elevator right after it. He's holding his cheek. Beyonce's acting like nothing happened. Solange just got into a massive fight with her brother-in-law, and the bodyguard's like, what? Talk about drama. Talk about family drama. You think you have a tough family? Like, wow. Which actually, this is going to be such a tangent, and we don't even have to get into it, but this is so interesting. Oh, Amber has a good point here. She goes, I've met Solange. I love Amber, by the way. I met Amber at Dozer's Live. So Amber's my girl. I met Solange and she was nice and beautiful. I would trust her over anything Jay-Z says. You know my feelings about Jay-Z. Okay. I'm curious why Jay-Z. I haven't finished the Diddy documentary, just between us. So that's my plan for this weekend. I really want to depress myself. That's what I keep hearing, that it is incredibly depressing. Have you finished it, you guys? But I will watch it. But I know that Jay-Z's not in it. And I'm very curious why 50 Cent decided to completely leave him out of the documentary. I'm very, very interested in that. Okay, I was going to go on a tangent about not speaking to your family and Oprah's new special, but I know Maureen Callahan is who turned me on to that. So go and watch Maureen on The Nerve. And she did a whole segment on Oprah Winfrey, talking to all these people who completely cut out their family for years and years and years. That is a whole other thing. I was talking about family drama with Solange and Jay-Z. What's better, not talking to your family or beating them up in elevators? I don't know. Have to figure that out. All right, you guys. Well, as we continue on, thank you so much, Wendy, for reminding everyone to hit that like. That like button, by the way, it's free for you guys to do. And it really helps my show. It really helps Daily Dose of Donna. So if you just don't mind, just clicking that like. I know it seems weird and like desperado, but it does help the show. So thank you so much for doing that. Before we get into a little story about a couple celebrity stories, before we get into the Justin Baldoni, I have to shout out hers weight loss. Thank you so much for being here and for subscribing and also for sponsoring my show, hers. Because I have to tell you, these days life is busy, schedules are packed, and taking care of yourself can feel like a full-time job. But who has the time? Hers is here to support you on your weight loss journey. Hers is transforming women's healthcare by providing access to weight loss treatment plans for every budget. They connect you with a medical provider who will work with you to determine the best treatment option for you. If prescribed, you get medication as part of a doctor-developed weight loss program, complete with ongoing care, check-ins, dosage and medication adjustments, and access to 24/7 online support at no additional cost, no hidden fees, and no membership fees. Weight loss by Hers is realistic, not restrictive. Hers provides access to affordable weight loss plans built around oral medication kits and GLP-1 injectable options, with oral medication kits starting at just $69 per month with a 10-month plan when paid upfront in full. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time you find the best option that works for you through Hers. Whether you want to lose weight, grow thicker, fuller hair, or find relief for anxiety, Hers has you covered. Visit forhers.com/dailydose to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's forhers.com/dailydose. Forhers.com/dailydose. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded drug products are not approved or evaluated for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. Okay. So I thought these were such interesting stories and I saw them back to back. So I had to bring them up to you guys. What are your strange phobias? And by phobias, I mean, do you have any of those weird things that you find? You know, do you remember those old episodes of like Dr. Phil or Jerry Springer, not Jerry Springer, maybe, but like those episodes where they would try to get them to get over their strange phobias? Like people had phobias over not just like spiders, but odd things, you know, things that weren't just like your normal, typical phobias. And this I find are interesting ones. So the first story that I saw that I thought was, I saw it last night and I was like, I kind of understand this one. And it's misophonia. If you guys don't know what misophonia is, it is literally when you struggle listening to people chew or like drink. You struggle listening to the sound of people eating. And I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Because I think I struggle, but I guess it's a spectrum because I actually struggle with it to an extent, but it's not enough for me to actually lose my mind or go crazy or run away. You know, mouth noises, like that's actually exactly what that is. It's really a struggle for me. And January Jones from Mad Men, if you guys remember who she is, January Jones reveals that this is a lifelong health condition for her. And she slammed her family member who seems to think it's funny. She posted a video on Instagram and she literally posted, I'm just going to play it for you guys. If you guys remember her, she was Betty Draper. She was Mad Men's, she was Don Draper's wife. It's kind of a dark video, but she posted this.
Hey. So for today, I'd like to talk about something that I've been struggling with my whole life, which is called misophonia. My whole life. And it's gotten progressively worse over the years. And I have a brother-in-law whose favorite food is chips. Just all the time eating chips. And I have talked to him about this many times, and he seems to think it's funny to eat chips around me now because it's like an ongoing joke to see what happens, see what I do. And I just think it's really unkind to my issue, and also very dangerous for him. So what I didn't do today was record this video inside a prison, because I've imagined many ways to do it too. But I didn't. And not yet. And otherwise he's a really nice guy. And it's his birthday today, so happy birthday. I hope you're eating a fuckload of chips.
So obviously she was being funny and trying to be like, make it a joke, but this is a serious condition, you guys. Misophonia is a serious condition. I think people always joke it off like, oh, you hate hearing people eat. I don't think anyone enjoys hearing people eat, but I truly think this is an actual serious condition. In fact, I do have someone in my life who told me that their son struggles with it, like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old son, or around that age, I can't remember, struggles with it so much that they have to eat with headphones. That's so sad. She's making a joke out of it, but I think she really actually struggles with it. I wonder if there's therapy that you can go through. And then what do you do? What do you do when you are on Instagram or on TikTok these days? You can't, because everywhere you go, you see people eating on these reels. You can't follow Bethany. That's for sure. You definitely cannot follow 97% of people on TikTok, because that's what they do. They eat while they talk. They show you what they're eating. Oh my gosh, that's got to be so hard, right? Now, another story I thought that was kind of interesting and really strange, and I can't tell if this is real or not. She says it's real. Miley Cyrus, who just coincidentally got engaged, was on Jimmy Kimmel. And this is a real article, you guys. This is on page 6. And it says Miley Cyrus reveals she has a serious phobia of paper. Makes me want to vomit, she says. And I thought to myself, is this for real? This is what she says. Oh God, I can't watch 13 minutes. Does she talk about it in a shorter way?
About it because it is affecting my everyday life.
It is.
It is affecting
You can't get away from it.
Like, okay, like someone gets an Amazon box, I'm sick because the cardboard is the worst of it all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's extra dry and there's packaging within it. So I go outside. That's the best part. That's really why I got engaged, is because I just make my fiance open all the packages outside.
Yeah, I think like the first year anniversary is paper or something. Right?
Not here.
Yeah, I know you're not going to go traditional with that.
Absolutely not.
Will you even sign the marriage certificate, or will somebody have to do that for you?
Okay, here's my one. This is the thing, is waxed paper. Like anything that's got like a smooth surface, that's better. And from the last marriage, I think I remember that the paper is waxed.
It's not waxed.
But I had smoked one of those imaginary joints. Yeah. So I can't really remember.
You think you signed wax paper?
I'm pretty sure.
I think you may have been making cookies is what happened.
So she talks about her struggle with paper. Listen, he pulled out something, I guess, and then she made this face. In a weird way, I kind of understand, because textures are weird. Textures are weird sometimes, and I kind of understand this one. I do. Like styrofoam, I get it. I was whisking the other night. I was making mac and cheese for my kids, and I was whisking I was making instant mac and cheese. Okay, you got me. I'm a horrible mother. And I was whisking the milk and the instant powder before I put in the pasta. And my older son was like, I can't listen to this. And he had to run out of the room. So there's certain sounds that people can't handle. It's interesting. Okay, now let's get into the Justin Baldoni of it all and Alex Sachs. Alex Sachs, you guys, Alex Sachs, who knew that this producer, Alex Sachs, was going to come out of left field and be such a sack of lying piece of crapola? Now, I don't know if she's lying or not, to be honest. I don't know if she's lying, but I just think that she is making a mountain out of a molehill. And we talked a little bit about her yesterday because Alex Sachs is the producer that came out of nowhere and said, I think, Justin Baldoni was he was aggressive and yelled at me on set and he slammed the chair and whatever. And I gave you guys the whole spiel about her role on the set versus a creative's role on the set and how they tend to kind of butt heads. And I got a lot of conversation back and forth about that in my DMs yesterday from a lot of production people who agreed with me. And it's just very, very interesting how this woman, Alex Sachs, kind of turned on Justin through the years. So I've done a lot of research and I started reading her deposition yesterday. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance to kind of look at her deposition or if you've watched any other people talk about her deposition, but I find it really fascinating. And I wanted to go over a couple things with you. First of all, just a little bit of an article that I found about Alex Sachs talking about It Ends With Us. I think it's really interesting. I want to go through it with you because I think it's really interesting to kind of hear her take on her experience. Now, this article is called A Rabbit's Foot. And it was an interview on August 31st, 2024. So this was after the premiere. Well, it was released on August 31st, but I would imagine it was written in August. And I imagine it was done sometime, during that premiere month. Okay. So this is well after Justin Baldoni has been iced out by everyone. He's on the shit list. Everyone's unfollowed him. Everyone's turned on him, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. They're talking about the movie. Obviously, the person interviewing her has no real idea what's going on behind the scenes. And it's really small, but super producer Alex Sachs talks bringing It Ends With Us from page to screen and the movies that shaped her artistic sensibilities. This is another thing about Hollywood I just want to share with you guys. This is another thing about Hollywood. And part of the reason why I had to leave. I always felt this way. Hollywood is the industry where everyone does the work and everyone wants the credit for the work. And what I mean by that is every single person takes the credit for doing it. Like, in my experience, I just remember the network would always take the credit for finding the actor. The producers would always take the credit for finding the actor. And it was frustrating as the casting director that actually found the actor and did the work to find the actor. But then the head of the studio, the head of Disney would be on some sort of weird interview and be like, yeah, well, when we found da, 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 da. And I'm like, what do you mean when you found? You were sitting in a conference room and this person was presented to you and you said, yeah, she's good. I'm like, you didn't find anyone. You were literally, you just you sat in a chair and said, yeah, okay. Like my partner and I were sifting and looking and discovering, right? So there's a lot of energy of I want to take the credit. I want to take the credit. I want to take the credit. And this is how it works, I feel like, for this kind of stuff too. Like producer Alex Sachs can do it all. Even just the beginning of the article where it says, super producer Alex Sachs talks bringing It Ends With Us from page to screen. It's very interesting to me how Alex Sachs is getting the credit for bringing It Ends With Us from page to screen. Yet not any of us can say in any real words what Alex Sachs actually did for this movie, except be one of the many producers just coordinating shit. Like, what did she do on this film? Right? No one knows, but she brought it from page to screen? Really? Okay. So it's a little bit of a battle of egos, and I hated that so much from the business. I think maybe I'm too egotistical that I was like, if I'm going to do the work, I want to get the credit. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? That's why I like doing my own thing, my own one-woman show. All right, let's go back to the story. So she talks about, this is her, this is Alex Sachs. She talks about the fans. This is not as interesting. But then this is the question. Justin handles these themes with so much sensitivity. Listen to the question, how it's asked, and how she answers. Justin handles these themes with so much sensitivity. What qualities did he bring to this production that showed he was the right person to bring this story from page to screen? She responds, there was a painstaking amount of thought and consideration and consultation from our female screenwriter, Christy Hall, and Colleen, Blake, and myself. This whole movie was a collaboration in the truest sense of the word. Coincidentally, I had taken a general meeting with Justin in 2019 because I had watched his TED Talk, which predates the book he has since written about toxic masculinity, and I was taken by the speech he gave. It was at the end of that meeting that he told me he was about to get the rights to this incredible book and asked if I wanted to check it out. So I read the book 3 years before actually coming onto the project and after I made no hard feelings with Sony, who were co-funding this film. They brought me up as a potential producer to Justin, and he immediately said, oh my God, she's the first person I ever sent this book to. There's no clear answer to your question for me because my entire experience with Justin has felt so deeply interwoven with the themes of this book and the project itself. Him telling the story always made sense to me because of that. What the fuck? What a horrible, horrible response. She literally found every way not to answer the question. They're like, literally, they said, what qualities did he bring to this production? She's like, well, Blake, Colleen, Christy, and I brought. I mean, it's maddening that this actually was her answer. How did you, Colleen, and Justin try to surprise people who already had a relationship to the story? Well, Colleen was very involved. I've never worked on a project where every department and individual involved were so consistently asking each other, what would the fans think of this? We would call Colleen often and ask her if a tiny change we made to our original story made emotional and narrative sense to her, or if she imagined that Lily Bloom would look the way she did. Staying true to the story was always on our minds. What was it like at the premiere? Nothing about Justin. The hardest character to nail here was probably Ryle, because we're not used to seeing abuse portrayed like this on screen. I wonder how much that character changed from the script up until the end of production. It really didn't. Directing and starring in a movie is exceptionally challenging, but one of the things Justin had on lock was how he was going to portray this character. I don't want to know what it was like inside of his brain during that time because it was a lot of pressure and stress. But the fact that he had this anchor of how he was going to play Ryle so early on really helped. Okay. So she said something positive about the way he was acting. That's good. The person says, I think Blake brings that character to life beautifully. And she responds, part of the reason I was assigned to this movie was because it had to be made on an accelerated timeline. And I had already done that for Sony and no hard feelings. So with that in mind, remember, that's why she was brought on, for time purposes, for budget purposes, for logistical purposes. Okay. And she says, I had already done that for Sony and no hard feelings. So with that in mind, casting Blake was one of the first things we did. She was the first person I went out to as part of the team. I was thrilled. And I remember calling Justin being so excited because aside from the fact that she's a phenomenal actress, remember, she hasn't said this at all about Justin. She's never said one positive thing really about Justin other than he had Ryle's character on lock. I knew how much else she would bring to the project, from her aesthetic eye to her humor and nuance. When I came on, Justin was very clear that he wanted to make an elevated movie, and Blake's sensibilities lends herself to that. Recently, Blake mentioned that Ryan Reynolds works on every project she takes and vice versa. Can you tell me about what that might entail? Blake was honest when she said, no one knows this except for you now, to the reporter. Maybe deep down, we all thought that maybe that was happening, but a lot of it was coming from Blake. There's so much at every level, from the script to the production design to the costume she was involved in as a producer. So it was both a surprise and not a surprise to get that confirmation that it was the two of them in some cases. There were things we'd see on monitor that were such delightful surprises, despite being departures from the page. And in my experience in the feature world, that happens. And sometimes those kinds of happy accidents happen on set. They can make the movie better. She sounds like a fangirl. They ask about a sequel. She's like, we're not talking about a sequel. Doesn't really talk more about Justin there. And that's pretty much it. So she does an entire interview where she doesn't really give Justin any sort of credibility, okay? Now to her deposition. Her deposition is long, so of course we cannot go through it all, but she does get into when Justin gets mad at her 3 times. 3 times Justin gets mad at her throughout the entirety of the production, according to her. And it starts. She talks about her role, how Wayfair is her boss, technically, because they're paying her. Like, Jamie Heath is giving her paychecks, technically. Okay. Hold on. All right, here we go. They ask her to look at Exhibit 2. And in this exhibit, it's a document. And this is something that happened in February 2023. So this is before production even starts. And in the document, it says, I want to apologize to the group, especially to Alex. And it's written by Justin. And she says, they say, do you see that? She says, yes. And they ask, what do you understand Mr. Baldoni to be apologizing to you for? And she said, I believe the day before we were on a call or a Zoom where he yelled at me. Mr. Baldoni yelled at you? She says, I believe so. They say, when you say he yelled at you, did he raise his voice? I believe so. Do you recall who else was on the Zoom? I believe everyone on the email chain, and it may have been a call. Mr. Giannetti, or Miss Giannetti, so that's the person from Sony. Mr. Kaloff, I believe these are people from Wayfair. AJ Marbury, yourself, and Mr. Baldoni were in the meeting. She answers, I don't know that AJ was. That's his assistant, but Angie, Jamie, and Kaloff probably were, along with Justin. They ask, what do you recall about this meeting in February of 2023 in which Mr. Baldoni yelled at you? She says, I don't remember much. But reading the email, I believe he was talking about his own abuse. Yeah, when I tried to voice an opinion, he yelled at me, but I don't remember exactly what the words were. So do you recall the gist of what he yelled at you? I don't. Do you recall what opinion you were voicing at the time? I don't. Okay. In the second paragraph, Mr. Baldoni writes, I feel I have failed at being a safe place for others, so I want to apologize as my behavior yesterday for me was not acceptable. I try very hard not to interrupt the women in my life, and unfortunately, I've been failing in that on quite a few occasions over the last few months, oftentimes, and yesterday in particular to you. Do you see that? Yes. Did you agree with Mr. Baldoni that he had failed at being a safe place for others? She says, I have no idea. He goes, did you feel that he had failed at being a safe space for you? She says, I didn't need him to be a safe space for me. They go, do you agree with Mr. Baldoni that his behavior and yelling at you during the February 2023 meeting was not acceptable? She says, yes. Why? I don't yell at work colleagues, nor do I like being yelled at. You think it's inappropriate to yell at your colleagues? She says, personally. Do you recall during this February 2023 call, Mr. Baldoni interrupting you? I don't recall. Was it your experience on the set that Mr. Baldoni would often interrupt you when you were speaking? Did you say on the set? In the connection with the film? Oh, yes. Mr. Baldoni often interrupted you while you were speaking? Sometimes. Did you observe Mr. Baldoni interrupt other women in connection with the film? I can't recall. And then it says, She says the other times that I recall were usually in group meetings where other women were present, but I never saw him directly mansplain to one woman or a group of women. It was more a big conversation with a group in a production meeting or something. Did you observe Mr. Baldoni yell at anyone else in connection with the film other than you? Not that I can recall. Did Mr. Baldoni yell at you more than once in connection with the film? Yes. How many times would you estimate that Mr. Baldoni yelled at you? I believe it was 3. Would that be 2 times in addition to this February meeting? I believe so. What are the other 2 incidents that you recall Mr. Baldoni yelling at you? One other was also on, as I believe the other time was, on a Zoom. It was a note Zoom. I don't remember the details beyond that. And then on a follow-up Zoom, he apologized to me in front of the entire group for doing so on the previous Zoom. So you mentioned a note Zoom. What is that? Where we would get on a Zoom and have a meeting about the latest draft and talk about creative notes that we all had. So during a meeting to discuss notes on the draft of the script, Mr. Baldoni yelled at you. Yes. Do you recall what he yelled at you? I don't. Do you recall the topic that was being discussed at the time that he yelled at you? I don't. Do you recall who else was present during the Zoom when he yelled at you on the Zoom with respect to discussing notes about the current draft of the script? I believe Angie, Jamie, and probably Kalof. Roughly when do you recall the Zoom, the note Zoom, occurring during which Mr. Baldoni yelled at you? I believe it was January of 2023. Do you recall the general topic of discussion during the Zoom? Just the script. Do you recall Mr. Baldoni mansplaining to you during that note Zoom in January? I don't recall. Do you recall whether he interrupted you during that note Zoom in January of 2023? I don't recall. Okay, before I get into the third incident, I wonder if you guys think this is a little weird. That this girl remembers very strongly that she was yelled at 2 times by her boss and has no memory about what. I find this weird. Not being honest, not trying to like diminish a woman's experience, because I am not saying that it didn't happen. Because clearly he wrote an apology. So I think he did get mad at her. I really do. At least that one time, I think he did get angry. I don't think he was like, fuck you motherfucking bitch. But I think he got mad. But usually when you go through a situation where you actually get angry or get yelled at enough that like it's enough for you to remember 2 years later, 2.5 years later, that you're being deposed and you tell them about it in a lawyer's office, it should be enough that you would remember the story of why. Well, I gave them notes on a scene about where he and Blake met, and he didn't like the note. Obviously, she said something to him that it pissed him off or it bothered him or something. Why isn't she just saying, well, he tended to not like my notes about the story? It seems very odd that she's like, don't recall. No idea. No idea. No. I still remember why my boss yelled at me in 2007. Remember I told you guys that my boss literally yelled at me because I wore my hair wrong in 2007? When your boss yells at you, I think that like enough that you're going to remember. I don't know. Those things stick with you. It's weird that she's remembers it this much. She's like, I'm not used to ever getting yelled at on sets. I never get yelled at by my bosses. It's not commonplace for me to get yelled at. I never get like, this is not something that ever happens to me. But you don't remember it? I just remember it happened, but I have no memory of what happened and why. It's weird. Oh, interesting. Enrique says he was probably complaining to her about Blake. I bet $100. It's very possible that he was like, she's being a little difficult about A, B, and C. And then, oh my God, this actually really tracks now that I think about it, because Alex was starstruck Alex was so starstruck over Blake. Think about it. She was starstruck. She just told us in that interview that she was like, oh my God, I was so excited that I cast Blake. I was so excited to bring Blake to the project. And Blake can do no wrong. She has an aesthetic eye and like, wow, oh my God. And then I bet that she was coming in with all these like difficulties and all these dramas and the costume and this and this and that. And Justin was probably like, oh my God, I'm struggling already. And I'm having issues with da 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 da. And he probably brought it up to Alex. And Alex is like, listen to me. Blake is perfect. I don't think you understand how lucky you are to have Blake. Like, probably gave him a little bit of a hard time. And Justin was like, I don't think you understand what a hard time Blake is giving us. I guarantee you it was about Blake, and that's why she can't say it. Because if it was about some random note about the kiss, she would remember it, or it was about some random note about, she remembers everything else. It's so wild. Okay. A little more about this, because now we're going to get into the chair incident. If you thought that was ridiculous, just wait. You mentioned there was a third incident in which Mr. Baldoni yelled at you. Is that right? Yes. When was that? That was on set towards the end of the first round of shooting. Would that have been roughly June 2023? I believe so. What do you recall about the meeting on set with Mr. Baldoni in which he yelled at you? Well, we were shooting at the RHOBH location. It was a very stressful day of shooting. So we already know it's stressful, you guys. Okay? I'm setting the tone for you. I told you guys yesterday, set days are very stressful because we had a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. There's a lot of extras. This was probably, what is the RHOBH location, by the way? Do you guys know which scenes these were, the RHOBH location? Does anyone know? He came up behind monitor where I was sitting. Jamie and Ange were behind me. And he came up to me and asked me how I thought the scene was going. So it's Video Village. I think you guys all kind of understand what Video Village looks like, right? It's a camera. I'm sorry, it's monitors, multiple screens, and like probably 7, 8, depending on how many, director's chairs. Those are those soft back chairs. Okay. And he came up to me and asked me how I thought the scene was going and if he was getting it, which I thought he did, and also expressed that I didn't believe he needed more coverage. So she was worried about one thing and one thing only, the budget, because she didn't want to go into overtime, because if you go into overtime, what happens is that you have to spend more money on all the extras. You have to pay time and a half to all the crew. Trust me, Lance, my husband, camera operator Lance, would have been like, let's get into overtime so I can make more money today. Okay. Because union films, you have to go into time and a half. Everyone would have been paid more money. The production would have gone crazy over budget on the day. So all this producer would have cared about is one thing and one thing only: stay on time. So Justin, the director of the film, who has the vision of the film, is thinking to himself, I want more coverage. Okay. I want more coverage. It's the restaurant scenes. Root is the name of Atlas Restaurant when they had dinner with Lily's mom and then his sister. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. So he wants more coverage. He goes over and he's like, what do you think? She goes, I think it's great. She's like, let's move on. Let's move on. And he says, I want more coverage. She says, I think you got it. And he yells at her, she says. So she remembers this one perfectly, right? He yells at her and says, I don't remember. Oh, no, she doesn't remember this one perfectly. Sorry. I don't remember exactly, but something to the effect of, I actually don't remember exactly what he said, but he yelled something and then slammed his hands on the director's chair next to me. So now it really is the soft chair that I'm sitting on, right? And walked away. So, God, I'm just going to make it like, can you imagine it's the worst thing? God damn it, Alex. I need this shot. Okay. That's probably the worst thing you could say in that moment. I'm even going to make it worse. Fuck, Alex. This is the moment. We need this shot for this fucking movie to be amazing. That's the worst thing he could have done. Like, what? And then I turned around, she says, and I looked at Amy, Angie, and Jamie. I guess she meant to say Angie and Jamie, and said, if he did that, something like that to me one more time, that I was going to walk off the movie. You want to know why she said that? Well, let's first ask her. Why did you feel like you would walk off the movie if he behaved in that manner again? They ask her. And she says, well, it was the first time I felt physically intimidated. Well, why did you feel physically intimidated during that interaction with Mr. Baldoni? Because he slammed his hands on a chair right next to me while yelling at me and saying my name. That's the one thing I remember is he said, Alex. He yelled Alex and then slammed his hands on the chair? Yes. Can you describe for me where you were when that happened? We were in a restaurant, and the front of the restaurant is where we were filming. And then there was sort of a divider in the restaurant, and Village was behind the divider towards the back of the restaurant. And that's where I was sitting in one of the first chairs closest to the monitor at the Village. So we were sitting at Video Village. Was anyone who was around you? Angie and Jamie were sitting in 2 chairs behind me. Was anyone else there? There was probably lots of crew milling around, but no one I can remember specifically. The crew would have been milling around the Village and also around the area where the actual filming was taking place in the front of the restaurant. Correct, but also bringing either equipment or props back and forth from the back entrance up to the front where the shooting was happening. Did you say what prompted Mr. Baldoni to yell your name and slam his hands down on a chair was that you gave him a note that you didn't think he needed more coverage of the scene? Yes, I said I didn't think he needed more coverage of the scene, and I think he wanted to shoot more coverage of the scene. So your impression was that Mr. Baldoni wanted to shoot the scene from more angles. Correct. And you didn't think that was necessary. Correct. And simply noting to him that you didn't think he needed the scene from additional angles prompted Mr. Baldoni to yell and slam a chair. I was answering the question. So, yes, you answered a question that he asked you, and he responded by yelling at you and slamming a chair on the ground now. Yes. And you were physically intimidated by that. Yes. Were there any other physical movements that Mr. Baldoni was making? Was he getting big, for example? Was he approaching you? Not that I can recall. Do you feel that that was appropriate behavior for your boss? No. And Mr. Baldoni yelled at you and slammed the chair, it sounds like in front of several other people. Is that right? In front of Miss Giannetti, Mr. Heath, as well as multiple crew members, from what I can remember. How many crew members could you estimate were around at the time? I have no idea. Would it be more than 10? I don't think so. Somewhere between 5 and 10, maybe. Could be under 5. Could be more than 5. I really don't remember. Was Mr. Baldoni in the scene that prompted him to yell at you? Yes. Was it your impression that he wanted more coverage of himself in the scene? Not necessarily. Did Mr. Baldoni ever explain to you why he yelled at you during that time? No. Did he apologize? I don't remember. Okay. Alex. Oh, Alex. So, I'll tell you what happened here. The way this girl was just embarrassed. That's what happened. Her ego was bruised. I can see it right now. When I saw her interview, right on her interview yesterday, if you don't remember, if you weren't here on the show yesterday, I pulled up her interview yesterday. And she sat there and she was like, well, when I was working on It Ends With Us, and now we're doing Americana and and I'm sorry, I'm going to judge. I'm going to judge because I'm a former casting director and I feel like I can read people fairly well. And I feel pretty confident that this woman, Alex Sachs, feels like she is the top dog on these sets. And I strongly believe that she felt like she was the HBIC. And if you don't know what that means, it's head bitch in charge. And she freaking hated being yelled at. And she may have not even been yelled at, but being told by this fresh and new and green producer director, Justin Baldoni, when she was considering herself like a seasoned producer that came from Sony, that just came off No Hard Feelings. She knew what she was doing. She was the expert. And now this Justin Baldoni, this little like nothing guy in her mind, came to her and was like, no, publicly, in front of a Sony executive, in front of Jamie Heath, in front of these other crew members, That is why she was like, I'm not going to allow for that kind of behavior. Not because she was physically intimidated. She wasn't scared for her life. She wasn't scared that she was going to get hurt. She wasn't scared that he was going to attack her. He slammed his hands on a cloth chair next to her. And he said her name. He didn't go to her face and say, listen to me, bitch. This is such BS. She chose who she wanted to align with. And at this point in production, it was towards the end of the first round. Everyone was already gabbing about who they already didn't like. And Justin was that guy. She had already had this brunch with Jenny Slate. She knew Jenny Slate didn't like Justin. She knew Blake didn't like Justin. She knew that Wayfarer, in her mind, and there's so much more in this deposition. I could do a whole live about this. In this deposition, she already decided that Wayfarer was a very green production company. We have already talked about this, that she thought Wayfarer was a very green production company, that they hired a very green AD. Her name is Julie Bloom. She thought she was incredibly green, that she just couldn't get her shit together. She was very bad at her job for this film. She just she wasn't in lockstep with schedule. She just didn't have her shit together. Wayfarer just didn't have their shit together. She knew whose side she was on. And she was on Blake's side. She was on Jenny's side. She just didn't like Justin. She didn't like Justin. She didn't like Jamie. And anything at this point that they did was already just bad. So she was already against Justin. She wasn't making Justin's movie at this time. She just wanted to make the movie and just check it off the box. So she wasn't sitting there trying to like work with Justin, collaborate with him, and like hold his hand through an experience of like, how do we make the best movie for you, Justin? I can't wait to see your baby come to life. That was long gone. That was 2019 when she met with him after the TED Talk and she was like, wow, let's make this baby. That's gone. Now she's like, Justin, let's get through this fucking movie. She wanted him replaced after 1 week of production because she had one lunch with Jenny Slate. After 1 week, she wanted the director of the movie replaced. They were done with him from the beginning. Everything we're seeing playing out in December of 2025 has been planned since the beginning of 2023. Not maybe to this extent, to this detailed, but they were done with Justin way before this supposed SH even ever happened. It was all, they hated him. And then this SH, this like fake SH just fit into the puzzle. So it's all like the SH is a scapegoat for ruining Justin's life, for the misery that they supposedly endured under his wings. And that's how I've always been able to see it. But regardless, a mean director and a yelling director does not make a sexually harassing director. And none of this will make Justin Baldoni guilty for sexual harassment. So it's just moot. It's just bullshit. None of it works. And there you go. Why did Jenny Slate hate Justin? Well, the whole story about Jenny Slate is wild. And we haven't seen Jenny Slate's deposition, but in Alex Sachs' deposition, we do get a little bit of an idea. So I will read you guys this part. On page, I don't know where we are, but on page 28, they asked, do you recall the brunch with Jenny Slate? Do you recall having brunch with Jenny Slate in May 29th, 2023, or around that time? So this is right at the beginning of production, you guys. I do. And tell me about that brunch. Jenny and I had had a meal prior to this one, so I went into it thinking it was a friendly brunch, which it was to a degree. But during it, she brought up some concerns that she was having on the movie, which was the first time I was hearing about them. What concerns did Miss Slate bring up during your brunch? I don't remember. Always, this bee has no memory. She needs to take some more ginkgo biloba. I don't remember exact language that was used, but there were a few. One was that in a scene, I believe the week prior, Justin had commented on her physical appearance, which made her uncomfortable. That initial creative Zoom meeting between Justin, Blake, and Jenny and Blake only found out at the very end of the Zoom that Justin had been recording it the whole time. And that made both Blake and Jenny, from Jenny's point of view, very uncomfortable. There was a mention of some kind of comments that Jamie had made to Jenny regarding how generous they had been with her housing allowance and that it was important for them to take care of new mothers. And that made her uncomfortable. And then there was a lot of other conversation, non-specific, but that she was uncomfortable in both of their presences and really would prefer to never see Jamie again, knowing that Justin was the director and co-star she would have to. Miss Slate said that she would never want to see Mr. Heath again. Correct. And it's your impression that Miss Slate knew that you would have to see Mr. Baldoni because he was the director and co-star, but perhaps she didn't want to see him either. I can't speak to that, but that was my assumption. Okay, you said a lot there, so I want to break it down a little, okay? You mentioned that Miss Slate raised during your brunch in May that Mr. Baldoni had commented on her physical appearance, which made her uncomfortable. Yes. And do you recall if Miss Slate told you whether that happened while a scene was being filmed, while they were on set or some other time? She says, I don't remember which location it was, but it was on set in costume prior to filming. So she was in costume. We were not filming. Did Miss Slate tell you what the comment was about her appearance? It was, I don't recall if it was that he called her hot or sexy, and I don't recall if it was once or twice. The first time would have been in the flower shop when she was wearing an all-leather jumpsuit, and the second would have been in the karaoke scene. I don't remember what she was wearing that day, and I don't remember which comment was attributed to which. But you recall Miss Slate informing you that Mr. Baldoni had called her hot and sexy. Okay, and don't recall the specific? I don't. You don't recall what she was wearing at the time? I don't. Did Miss Slate share with you during that brunch that she felt Mr. Baldoni's comment was hot or sexy, was directed to her personally? She didn't specify. Oh, no. Was it directed at her rather than her character? She didn't specify. Do you have an understanding one way or another? Objection. I didn't. Did Miss Slate also share with you that Mr. Baldoni had commented on Miss Lively's appearance in a similar manner? She would not give me specifics about what Blake was experiencing, but I believe had encouraged Blake to speak to me directly and that I reach out to Blake. Did Miss Slate suggest to you that she had encouraged Blake to reach out to you about her own concerns with Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath? I believe she did. Do you recall how she suggested that? I don't. Do you recall Miss Slate suggesting somehow that Miss Lively also had some uncomfortable experiences with Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath? Yes. So this brunch, by the way, is when Jenny Slate tells the producer that Justin Baldoni has called me hot or sexy. And he also has done the same with Blake. So now we're ringing alarm bells that Justin Baldoni is a creep. He's calling us hot and sexy. Okay. What do you recall about Mr. Heath's comments regarding Miss Slate's housing situation? She says, all I remember, and I don't even know that I know the details of what was happening at the time because production and Wayfair were handling it vis-a-vis the contract. Those are the kinds of conversations that I wasn't a part of on this film, but it was something to the effect of, we gave you more than maybe we normally would because we prioritize women with families and children because the whole page is gone. The whole page is totally missing. That sucks. They completely pull the page. They pulled page 107. Oh, that's a bummer. So we don't know more about the apartment. That is such a bummer that they pull the entire page. But basically, she's upset that Mr. Heath, Jamie Heath, gave her more than they would because they prioritize women with families and children. How dare they? Isn't that crazy? But they pulled the page. It's not here. Page 107 is missing. I wonder why. God forbid Wayfair decides to give Jenny Slate more than they would give a Brandon Sklenar. How dare they? That made her uncomfortable, you guys. Is she sick? Okay. Then it goes into the fact that he recorded the Zoom. Now, let me just say something about recording Zooms. We've all done Zooms, okay? Oh, that reminds me, by the way, tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Patreon, my upper tier, we're doing a happy hour Zoom. So make sure you sign up. If I record Zooms, you guys know. Whoever's on the Zoom, when you press record, you know it's being recorded. This has been in place since like COVID, right? How in the world would he have recorded it without them knowing? I'm very confused about this. I'll try to get Lance on it. Yeah, Micah. How in the world would they not know that he's recorded the Zoom? I'm very confused. All right, let's get back to this. I'm so upset. It says, are you aware that in some states it's illegal to record people without their consent? Yes. And would you be okay with your boss recording a conversation with you without informing you in advance? No. I believe you testified that there were other non-specific conversations with Miss Slate that you realized that she raised that she was uncomfortable with. I think I just covered all of them. I don't remember any further specifics. At 11:23 a.m., you sent a text to Miss Giannetti that said, yes, very bad. I think we need to replace our director and Jamie should not be on set. So right then, right after that conversation with Jenny Slate, she immediately texted Sony and said, it went very bad. We need to replace our director. Jamie should not be on set. Then they said, you felt that what Miss Slate had shared with you about Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni's behavior was very bad. Yes. And did you think because of what Miss Slate shared with you, that Justin should be replaced as a director on this film? Yes. Why? Because his actors were uncomfortable in his presence. And in your view, it's important that actors be comfortable around the director? Yes. And it's important that people be comfortable in their workplace. Well, why did you think Jamie should not be on set? Because I knew that I was more than capable of running the movie. They just weren't letting me. Oh, whoa. Okay. Wow. Guys, check this out. Because I knew that I was more than capable of running the movie. They just weren't letting me, she says. That's a crazy tell. And so his presence was actually not needed. So if he was making someone so uncomfortable, I didn't see the reason for him to be there. Holy shit! And similar to Mr. Baldoni, do you believe that, strike that, do you believe that excluding Mr. Heath from set would make actors more comfortable in their workplace? She says, for at least Jenny, yes. Was Mr. Heath excluded from set going forward? No. Why not? I don't know. Was Mr. Baldoni replaced as director on the film? No. Why not? I don't know. Other than Miss Giannetti, did you raise to anyone else the idea that Mr. Baldoni should be replaced as director on the film because his actors were not comfortable with him? No. Angie told me there was no way that would ever happen. So you informed Miss Giannetti, remember she's Sony, that actors were uncomfortable in their workplace due to Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni's behavior, and her response was there's no way that would ever happen or something to that effect. Yeah, that Sony's hands were tied, that they had no control over the movie, and that Wayfarer would never ever replace themselves. Other than the Miss Giannetti, did you raise to anyone that Mr. Heath should be excluded from set because actors were uncomfortable in his presence? Probably the line producer Andrea, but otherwise no. Did you ever raise to Mr. Heath that Mr. Baldoni should be replaced because actors were uncomfortable with his presence? No. Why not? Because Justin was Jamie's boss. And did you ever raise to Justin that you felt he should be replaced as director and his actors weren't comfortable in his presence? No. Why not? Because he was my boss. Did you feel like you didn't have anyone else to raise these to? Correct. And just to be clear, you felt that there was no other avenue other than Miss Giannetti to raise your concerns that actors were uncomfortable in the presence of Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni. Correct. Other than strongly encouraging Jamie and Justin to do an investigation, that was all. Why did that impact? Oh my gosh, wait. Okay. Did you raise to Mr. Baldoni that Mr. Heath should be removed from production? No, because Mr. Baldoni was your boss and Mr. Heath was his partner. And because Mr. Baldoni put Jamie on the movie as a producer after he had already hired me. Well, why did that impact your decision not to raise to Mr. Baldoni that Mr. Heath should be excluded from set due to the actor's discomfort with his presence? Because if Justin felt I could do the job on my own, he wouldn't have put Jamie on the movie in the first place. There's jealousy there. That is a crazy, crazy moment. She didn't like Jamie. She was too she was jealous of Jamie. This is what's going on here, you guys. It's all making so much sense to me. Is everyone else figuring this out alongside with me? It's all about power dynamics. She got hired on alongside with Justin. And maybe she would have had a better relationship with Justin had Justin not brought Jamie on. But when Justin brought Jamie on, it signified to her that she's not good enough at her job, and that pissed her off. So then she was all out for blood against Justin too. Really interesting. Really interesting. The fact that she wanted to replace Justin so freaking fast off one brunch with one not even lead of a movie, I've never heard of in my entire life. Never in my entire life. Can you imagine having a brunch with a small character in a film saying this one brunch of like, yeah, he made me feel uncomfortable because da da da, and then being like, he needs to be replaced. The director of the film? How about let's have a meeting? How about let's have a fucking all hands meeting? You know what a good producer would do? Let's have an all hands meeting. Let's all get together and freaking hold hands and like work this shit out. What is this? Replace him. What is this? What a horrible producer she was. She caused tension. She needs to, she's handling this like Kelly Dodd's family. What she needs to do is like get everyone together and sit down and be like, guys, we have a movie to make. We need to figure this shit out. Bring in a mediator. I worked on enough Disney shows where every single one of those girls and boys were yelling at each other and fighting and talking mean about each other on Snapchat, and they could work it out. This is nothing. Sit everyone down and shut up. Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour that shit. This is insane. I can't believe that this woman has a job. Did you encourage Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath to conduct an investigation with regard? Oh, and then they cut it out again. They cut out like 3 pages. Okay, so after you had brunch with Jenny and she raised concerns, you had a Zoom with them to discuss Jenny's concerns. And during that Zoom, did you share that Miss Slate had concerns with Mr. Baldoni about her appearance, etc.? Yes. And how did they react? They actually took it very well. In terms of they didn't at the time deny or get defensive. They just seemed to be taking it in. And that made it not as challenging of a conversation for me to be having with them, which I appreciated it. Yes. Not replace them. Talk to them. When you suggested or recommended that an investigation be performed, how did Mr. Baldoni respond? He was very open to it. Do you recall what he said specifically? I don't remember the exact words, but something to the effect of, I'm happy to do it. I should take responsibility for things I've done. That kind of language. I mean, what else does she want? And it just goes on. I mean, we could do this all day, you guys. I will continue. I can't be here all day doing this, and it's an hour and 20 minutes. But this is, and I want to talk about Real Houses. But this is the story. This is how it went. They were out to get him. It's not about SH. It's about being out to get him. It's unreal. But it sounds to me like Angie Giannetti from Sony, she didn't have Justin's back, but they weren't immediately against Justin either. I mean, it's really crazy. It's really crazy. Okay. We'll get back to that. I'll pull some important pieces out and I'll keep talking about it probably on Monday and maybe over the weekend. Okay. Let's just quickly, before we wrap up today, I just want to talk for a few minutes about last night's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to end things on a lighter note, because that pissed me off. I'm sure it pissed you guys off. Last night's Real Housewives was so good. I thought it was so fun. Did anyone here watch it? It's exactly what we need. It's light, it's fun, it's cute, and it's honestly, it's perfect. Okay. A lot of people are upset that Garcelle's gone. I honestly didn't care so much for the Garcelle storyline. It didn't jump out at me or excite me because Rachel Zoe is on the show now, and I think she just brings so much to the show. I love it. I want to shout out Lance. Actually, Lance from Lance, obviously my husband. I'm like, Lance from my house, Lance Bowling, because they shot the cold open at Lance's studios. I wasn't able to share it until now. So it was on this Daily Mail article. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Sutton Strack wears the most expensive gown in show's history following the home burglary. And you see her in the cold open here with Patrick and Paul. Actually, they were the designers. You know them from Jeff Lewis. And this little picture here is at F22 Studios, where we had Dozers Live. So that's kind of fun. A little shout out to Lance. So anytime you see the little cold open where they're doing holding out what do they do? Is it the apple? No, it's not the apple. What is Real Housewives? Diamond? They do the diamond. They shot that in that studio where we had Dozers Live. So that was a cool little fun get for Lance. But Rachel Zoe brings a whole new level of glamour to the show. She has the most gorgeous house. She's so successful. She's been working forever as a stylist. I loved seeing her on the show now single. She talks about the fact that she's been separated from her husband now for a year. They were together 18 years before they ended up having kids, and having kids kind of ended everything. They have a 14-year-old and 11-year-old, and you get to see the 10-year-old, I don't know. You get to see her being a mom. That was kind of interesting and cool. I love seeing angry Dorit. Dorit is not fucking around this season, and I think I'm going to be here for it. I have a feeling I'm going to be like Team Dorit this season. I don't know why. I know that Erica and Kyle are going to be anti-Dorit. They have some big blowout, and Erica and Kyle and Sutton are going to be friends, and then Dorit, Bose, and Rachel Zoe are going to be friends. And I think I'm going to be on Dorit, Bose, and Rachel Zoe's side. I don't know what's going to be the fight, but I think I already chose that side because I just think they're more fun. I think Dorit, Bose, and Rachel Zoe, if I had to choose an alliance, I would choose that alliance over the Kyle Richards, Erica, and Sutton alliance. And I think it's because I saw Erica washing her car in the cold open or at the very beginning in sneaks. And if you don't know what sneaks are, they're Sarah Blakely's high-heeled tennis shoes that honestly should never be worn. I can't believe one person ever bought them. If you remember sneaks, those truly should be burned in hell. And she wore them in some weird short shorts. I don't know what she was doing, Erica Jane, in that first scene, washing her soapy car with these short shorts and high heel tennis shoes. I'm like, what in the porn is this? I felt like we were watching soapy, so weird. Erica annoyed me in yesterday's episode. I think I'm over Erica, you guys. I think I've been over Erica. I don't feel like she brings anything else to the show. I think we've had our fill with Erica Jane. I don't know why. I just think we've done it. What else can she bring to the show? I feel a little personally done with Erica. That's how I feel. Kyle Richards felt light. She felt a little more fun than she normally does. I love seeing her and her family. They were talking, of course, about planning her daughter Alexa's wedding, who we know actually ended up getting married, got an adorable wedding. I love seeing her kids and their relationship, and talking about Mauricio being a little town hoe, hooking up with everyone. That was very cute. I love Dorit and Bose's relationship. I always think I just love Bose. Bose's energy is so my kind of energy. She's like, ooh, ah, oh, whoa, ooh. She always wants details. Like, I just love Bose. And Bose seems like she's in a happy relationship. She's got her mom. She's got her kid. They seem good. Kathy Hilton, bring her everywhere. I want to see her ever. She goes to dinner or goes to this lunch at Sutton's house. During the lunch, as she's sitting there, she's the only person that still takes the knife and does the teeth check with the knife. I don't think in my life I've ever done one teeth check with my knife. And then as they're sitting there, she pulls scissors and starts cutting shit from her hat. I mean, this woman is a billionaire. And the way she's just cutting at herself and pulling out jeans from her. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. She is a loose cannon. I'm obsessed with her. I love Kathy Hilton. And then I'm trying to think if anything big happened, like anything major. Oh, yeah, Sutton shared a little bit about her friendship with Garcelle and how that just disappeared, and how Avi doesn't work for her anymore. I mean, Sutton seems like a toxic woman, honestly. I don't think it's very easy to remain friends with Sutton. I think remaining friends with Sutton would be impossible, right? How could you remain friends with Sutton? She seems miserable. Miserable. And I feel like that's it. I can't wait for this new girl, Amanda, to come on. She seems like crazy town. It was just a great hour of TV. Like, I loved every second of it. Oh, look at this story. My brother worked at Mauricio's office and said Mauricio would constantly stare at him. My brother thinks he's gay or bi. I do not think that. I actually think he's straight as a fucking arrow. This man loves his punani. I really do think he loves the kitty cat. But I love Reba saying PK is ugly. She goes, well, I'm not attracted to that PK. I do love how Sutton and Reba have a relationship now. I think that's so cute that Real Housewives brought them friendlier, like that brought them together. Reba is funny. She just says it like she says what's on her mind. Says exactly what's on her mind. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really good season. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for Dorit and Kyle to fight. They hate each other. They despise each other. Are you listening? I forget what their big thing that they go. And she goes, you can't hide behind the cameras. Oh, it's so good. You guys, it was a great episode. What a long episode today for Daily Dose. I hope to see you on Patreon tonight. Bring a LaCroix, smoke a joint, bring a gummy, do your thing. And let's hang out later and talk all the smack. I love you guys so much. Talk to you later. Shabbat shalom. See you later. Bye.